Hello, viewers. Um, it's Thursday. Happy Thursday. Um, Today, I want to talk about speaking your dream life into existence. So, the power of your words is very much your words are just like any other part of your like your hands, your feet. Your words can work for you. And So if you are skillful with your words, you can actually create things into existence. You're gonna you're gonna have problems at first. You're gonna have difficulty. If you're a house builder, you're not gonna be a good house builder right from the beginning, right off the bat. You're gonna have to practice and practice and practice and practice. And with your words, the same thing. If you want to build your dream life using your words, if you want to build your environment using your words, it's going to take practice. If you want to build your mindset using your words, it's going to take practice. So um, um, in my life personally, uh, one thing I would say is just like the career, the route that I chose. It didn't come about like randomly. A lot of what I was, speaking forth led towards my career path that I'm in right now. So that's just one example. So each one of us has a inner critic, like, and the inner critic is the memories that we have that are negative, that are meant to help us survive, like in caveman times. We would we would like be very skeptical, like about safety and things like that, just in case a wild animal would come, like, uh, out of nowhere. So we had to be very, very skeptical, uh, and very negative as well, because better safe than sorry, right? So that's why we needed the inner critic, um, to make sure we're not we're not being risk averse. So that's why we have the inner critic. And in our history, the humans that, or the Homo sapiens that had an inner critic would be more likely to survive, because if they would be taking less risk. So the inner critic would help you to take less risk and therefore be negative. So, but now at this time and age where there is relatively lower danger, physical danger, the inner critic is a negative aspect. It makes you take less risk, and which keeps you um, stuck in your developmental phase. It keeps you stuck in your mind, your expansion of your mind. It makes you live a mediocre life. And I would say I've experienced to some extent, um, this in my life as well. I've had to live a mediocre life because uh, I'm thinking negatively. I don't use my words to build up uh, my self-esteem. In fact, I remember like when I was growing up, some of my neighborhood friends would say like, you, if you want something in your life, you have to pretend like you don't want it. And it's like the reverse of what is taught in the Bible, the reverse of what is taught in the um, in the society. Well, um, the reverse of what is taught in society. Just like some people say that if you really want something, pretend like you don't want it, and then it'll come to you, which is completely false. You have to do the opposite. You have to speak it into existence. You have to act like it's already there, not just act, not just speak it, but live as if it actually is true. And the goal, like, is to, if you live as if what you want in your life is true, then you're creating a space for that reality to start appearing small by small, like little by little. Like I was saying earlier, a house builder, he he needs to build his skill before he can start building a house like from scratch. He's gonna go through trial and error, and then even after he becomes a really good house builder, he has to take steps. He has to build the foundation. He has to uh, put down. Um, he has to put the idea. He has to work on the idea first, and there's steps. So speaking your life into existence, first you have to practice it, and then also you have to put in the exact steps, the sequence. And so when I say you can speak your life into existence, it doesn't happen like magic. And um, a lot of us, like, we grow up watching this, or like watching Harry Potter, or some other things like that are talking about magic. And I'm not talking about magic. It does function like magic, but um, it takes steps. There's procedures you gotta um, put in place. But like, especially if you look at the opposite, like if you speak, you can definitely also speak negative things into your life as well. You can speak your nightmare life into existence as well. So, and then the opposite also is true, and that's, I guess, that is the evidence. You can speak positive things into your life. You can speak negative things into your life. You can look at mental health patients or people who are depressed. If they consistently speak their fears, negative thoughts uh, in into their life, then it eats slowly eats at them. They become they become paralyzed, or they become unable to live their life, uh, no, their best lives. And also the same thing with people who have phobias as well. If you have a phobia of, of germs, if you have a phobia of height and things like that, and you speak negative things into existence, you become paralyzed. Even if what you fear is not true, you live as if it is, and it completely paralyzes you. You feel almost like it's true, and it is true in your in your understanding, your in your world. It is true. Like, but when you overcome your phobia, nothing changes except your mindset, and it makes a world of difference. It makes difference of night and day. So your and this is an example of how it can work in the negative scenario as well. I would say to get started right now, like if you are in the beginning stages of learning how to speak your positive things into your life, I would say read verses in the Bible that are positive, that talk about faith, that talk about confidence. Um, I talked about a book that I have. Let me bring it over here. So I recently downloaded the King James Bible so I can listen to the Bible and listen to the audio. But you can also get like one of these books here. It's it says prayers and promises for men, and then you can just like rehearse, or you can speak the verses into your life. You can go further and just read by an actual Bible, highlight the verses that speak positive things into your life, and then you go through the Bible every day and just read out the verses, the highlighted verses out loud, and I would say even memorize them, write them down. Specific ones that speak to you, memorize those. And anytime you have negative thoughts, you you overcome those thoughts by remembering and rehearsing the verses, the positive verses, and you live life as if those verses are true. Um, I would say that a very powerful example of how this has helped and how this works is someone like Dale Carnegie. Really popular authors like Dale Carnegie, Napoleon Hill, a lot of influential businessmen in American history, self-made wealthy individuals who um, who talk about faith and how reading the Bible helps them. Nightingale as well, really popular like author. Jim Rohn, he would talk about seasons. He would talk about he would not talk about like religion, but he does talk about faith. He does talk about positive mindset. Tony Robinson talks about positive mindset. Um, so even if even if you're not necessarily religious, it's obvious like having a positive mindset, it can completely uh, change your life for the better. And those wealthy individuals that I just talked about, they're examples of how this has worked, and then they're spreading the awareness as well that having a positive mindset And speaking words into existence, positive words into existence, speaking your dream life into existence works. And in science, I would say look at the gorilla experiment in the basketball court, and so they say that, and the scientists say that the RAS, or reticular activating system, is part of your brain, which allows you to basically see only what you expect and not what you don't expect. So when you expect a certain thing, you will, in your visual, in your eyes, you will be more aware of the things you expect and not of the ones that you don't expect. So in the gorilla experiment, the participants were asked to count the number of times that the basketball players were passing the ball, and then they would be counting, and then there's a random gorilla. They didn't they weren't told anything about a gorilla, but there was a random person with a gorilla costume that just walked through the between the basketball players, and some of the people that participated in the experiment didn't see the gorilla because their reticular activating system was just focused on counting the ball, and they weren't trying to focus on a gorilla, so they didn't see the gorilla. Uh, that's one example, but I can give you many other examples as well. The reticular activating system makes you see things that you expect. If you're expecting positive things, you will see positive things, and it will help build your positive mindset. If you expect negative things, you will see more negative things. It will build your negative mindset. So that the science also backs this idea that what you speak and what you see in your mind will eventually become your reality. It might take time, it might not, but that is beyond all doubt. It is the case. Um, if you stuck around up to this point, I want to say thank you so much. I love you. Please hit the like button down below. Hit also the subscribe button as well, and leave a comment down below. Let me know what kind of videos you'd like me to release next. And remember to do the hard thing, especially when you don't feel like it.